Hi ladies, welcome to Or Panimi. This is Sarah Tova Best. Here's the question. Linear. Is life linear? Is life not linear? We're going to talk about Bechukaisai, and we're going to suggest that whatever linear means, linear is the regular way that things work in nature. It's predictable, it makes sense, you can figure it out in your mind. And the non-linear way is something that you could really never explain in a logical way. So I'm going to suggest that Bechukaisai represents a nonlinear energy, and in a few minutes I'm going to explain what that is. But before that, a kind of amusing story that will bring it out. We meet our heroine in this story kind of at the side of the highway, far from an exit, waiting to exit Montreal to meet her husband. She's being picked up there through a whole set of circumstances, how the pickup point was over there. There she is standing, and he's about to drive by any moment. She will jump in the car and everyone's happy. And what happens is a large vehicle stops and says, "Madame, on peut pas arrêter ici, là-bas," the whole thing, right? The whole, "Ma'am, madame, you cannot stand over here in this spot." And so what ensues is a 5-minute debate between Madame, our heroine, and this vehicle. And behind this vehicle are five large trucks patiently waiting for this debate to end. And let's say that our heroine is pretty not sure what to do, but by the end of the debate, she understands that she basically has to take a ride. There's nowhere to walk to. She really needs to take a ride down the road to a safer place to wait, and what will be, will be. So there she finds herself in this vehicle, and she's going down the road and assumes that as soon as they come to a fork in the road, she will be let out. Nothing doing. Rien. Nothing doing. They come to the fork in the road where she feels, at least her husband will know now where to pick her up. They say, "It is illegal. Ben madame, on peut pas arrêter ici." It's the same thing, right? "Mon mari, elle attend. My husband, he's waiting." He's nothing doing. They come to several forks in the road, and by this time she's ice mensch, because how will her husband ever know where she is? What will he think when he comes around to that spot? Will he be panicky? And she's getting really panicky. And as they pass one fork after another where she thinks she can just stand in the grassy area, they explain to her in no uncertain terms that it is illegal for them to stop there or to let her out there, and therefore she has to wait for the exit. That's it. So by the time they come to the red light, the exit, she's thinking, "Ribono shel olam, there is no way, according to the rules of nature, that my husband will find me." When she tells them this, they say, "Tell him to call you." And she explains he has no Canadian phone. He has no way. He doesn't speak French. He doesn't know Montreal. He doesn't know the roads. He can't call her. Nothing. He won't know what happened. It's getting really scary. So she jumps out at the exit, thanks them, and walks down to one of those intersections in the highway and waits there. At this point, she's getting really nervous, so she starts to say the 12 psukim for all that with everything that she's got, and starts to feel, what's going to be? How's he going to find me? This is impossible. Hashem is going to do it in a non-linear way. He will find me somehow in a way that makes no sense, because life is no longer linear. And so what happens? She decides she'll call her brother and get some support. And what happens? The phone ran out of money. So at the last second she realizes, wait, call Fido, call the phone company for free and tell them you have no money on your card. "Oh, Fido, emergency, here I am, I don't know what to do." And they say, "We just put $10 on your card, go." At that minute she calls her brother and speaks to him for a moment, and as soon as she does, a police car appears from the other side of the highway. She waves very vehemently to the police car and says, "I need your help." And when the policeman comes, what does he say? "Madame, you are not allowed to be here either. You have to, how did you get here?" She said, "I walked from the exit." He said, "Not okay. You cannot be here." So she said, "But my husband, he won't know. Tell him to call you. He won't know. He doesn't have a phone." And he said in no uncertain terms, Madame, we cannot have all the cars in Montreal looking for your husband there. Law. What are you planning to do there? Law. As they say in Quebec. And she said, she looked him in the eye and said, I'm going to pray. Now, at this moment that she said, I'm going to pray, he might have, what would we expect? That he would look at her and say, each to his own? There was no time. Because as soon as she said, I'm going to pray, he turned around and looked behind her. And he said, Ben Madame, there is a car over there that's stopping on the highway, là. So she turns around, looks behind her, and there is a car slowing down, and it's her husband's car. Completely impossible that it should be there. There is her husband's car. So she says, thank you to the policeman for all his help. He looks so relieved to get rid of her. And she's off to the car. So happy to see her husband. He's so happy to see her. He's safe. She's safe. Wow, a miracle. But she doesn't realize how great the miracle is. She's thinking he probably at every intersection figured out which way, just happened to turn the right way each time and got there. He said, no, you don't understand. I was taken on 3 detours. The route I thought I would take was impossible. I went around and around till I had no idea. I was nowhere near the pickup spot. I was thinking, you're standing there getting hysterical, and there's no way that I can tell you. And I thought, I will find a policeman, ask him how to drive to the Chabad neighborhood, find your friend where we stayed for Shabbos, and tell her to call you. In non-French, do all of this without knowing French. He said, I was looking for a policeman. And all of a sudden, as I'm driving in the middle of who knows where on the highway, I see a policeman. And I'm about to stop, but I see an exit up behind him. So for some reason, I pass by the policeman. And as I'm passing him, I happen to look in the rear view mirror, and I see that he's talking to some crazy looking lady on the side of the highway. And I think, what kind of a lady is standing on the side of a highway talking to a policeman? And then he said something about the hood looked familiar, and he said, no, it can't be. How did she get here? What is going on? How did she get here? And so he's thinking, how did she get here? And she's thinking, how did he get here? And we know it's not linear. Hashem brought them from 2 opposite places that could not connect logically in a non-linear pattern in a miraculous way. So it's a very nice story. It's a very inspiring story. Does that happen to people? Should we count on those kinds of things? Shouldn't we organize ourselves better? Yes. But what it has to do with the Parsha is the following. The Chukaisai represents a lot of things, including Chakika. Chakika is engraving. We all know about the Luchais, the tablets that the Ten Commandments were on. It wasn't that there were 10 commandments, there was stone and ink was written on the stone. We know that the 10 commandments were engraved in the stone. So the question is, for engraving is very different. Because if Moses brought down a Torah scroll, which he did not, which had ink on parchment, that's one kind of frequency, we can say. He didn't bring down a Torah scroll. He brought down those engraved letters. There's some letters that have a little dot in them. And the question is, if it's not written on paper, how does it stand? Where do those little dots go? They were hanging in suspended animation in the middle of the air. How's that possible? Because it's not linear. Because that level of chakika, the level of godliness that's engraved in us, engraved in the Torah, even engraved in the world, if we choose to find it, it's not visible in a linear way. It's not accessible in a linear way. And when we look for it, it gives rise to what we call miracles. And not only that, it says about Chakika, about the luchos, the tablets of the Ten Commandments. It says Charus ala luchos, the letters were engraved on the luchos, meaning also Cherus al haluchos. There was freedom in these luchos. There is freedom in this frequency of God engraving himself into your soul, into your everyday life, into the Torah. There's freedom there. You can breathe, you can live. You're not stuck with the laws of nature. There's true freedom there. And when it comes to Parshas Bechukaisai, it seems to be an invitation to us to start to embrace, be curious about, be interested in, pursue that frequency. But one question is left. We can pursue that kind of frequency. We're regular people. We're not so righteous. That's for righteous people, tzaddikim. They can live on that frequency where it's not linear, where the solution to your problem will come out of nowhere. They live on that level. We are linear people. We don't have access to that. We're not righteous enough. And here is the caveat. We always thought that to reach that, you have to be personally righteous. It never occurred to us, a no-brainer. There's another way to get there. And the other way to get there is if the generation has gone through enough work so that righteousness is engraved in the generation. And that, the Lubavitcher Rebbe says, is where we're up to now. And that is available to us now. So ladies, Cherus ala luchos, freedom in the luchos, Bechukaisai. We can embrace miracles. We can expect miracles. Yes, we want to strive to that level of righteousness so that it becomes a reality for us. This is what the Rebbe is asking of us, so that we can spread that to the entire world and spread it to the world now, so that we can turn around and realize that we have, God willing, entered Yemaisa Mashiach, the days of Mashiach. May it be immediately now. Thanks so much.